Hello, all you deplorables. I like to think of you as free-minded, free thinkers with a free mind, and I enjoy and appreciate you joining me again for another video conversation. We have been talking about my favorite former House Representative, of course I'm joking, Liz Cheney. She's back hawking a book, and she has some very nasty things to say about our beloved former President Donald Trump. And of course, she is also slamming the new House Speaker Mike Johnson. So, without any further ado, we're going to go right ahead and let's get into it.
Cheney's book also details the groundwork laid by Trump's allies in the weeks leading up to January 6th. In the book, you spend a fair amount of time on a previously relatively obscure Louisiana congressman.
This is Mike Johnson. You know, Mike and I were good friends, but what I learned was that, in fact, he was operating in a way that was dangerous.
Why dangerous?
It was dangerous because what Mike was doing was taking steps that he knew to be wrong, doing things that he knew to have no basis in fact or law or the Constitution. And Mike was willing, time and again, to ignore the rulings of the courts, to ignore what state and federal courts had done and said about the elections in these states in order to attempt to do Donald Trump's bidding.
Can you get your mind around this? These people are loony. The news reporter that's given her a platform, these people are nuts. They're obviously all liberals. They lie through their teeth. If nothing else, they're always casting something in a false light. And look at Liz Cheney. She's out hawking a book, trying to sell books. She calls the current House Speaker Mike Johnson as dangerous. But I don't remember her standing up and screaming as the number 3 person in the House of Representatives at the time, her standing up and saying, hey, this guy's dangerous. This guy's alone. This guy is dangerous for our country. We have to do something. Liz, where were you? Where were you? I mean, really, is it as obvious as I think it is? This woman's trying to sell a book. Let's get real, Liz.
So he was asserting not only facts for which he had no evidence, but which the courts had already ruled had no merit.
Right, exactly.
We asked Speaker Mike Johnson for comment. His office tells Sunday Morning Cheney's book does not present an accurate portrayal of those events, and that he wishes her the best. In that book, Cheney itemizes each.
Folks, just briefly, when she is talking about that the courts were being ignored, what she's not telling you is that it's a process through the court system. In other words, when a Democrat or a Republican says, hey, there's a problem with the election, and they seek legal recourse, as they always do through the court system, a lower court may rule one way and then they appeal it, and another court might say, okay, this was a valid decision, or they might overturn it. So she's stretching the truth here. She may be talking about one case where a judge ruled one way and then they decided to appeal it. And she considers an appeal and not carrying out a lower court's order right away as some kind of injustice, as some kind of something dangerous. Come on, Liz.
Turn with Johnson before January 6th. A lot of attention for a name she expected few of her readers to know, but she felt Johnson's sleight of hand was emblematic of Republicans who don't just go along with Trump's deceptions, but boost them. She had no idea she was writing about a future speaker. The Speaker of the House is a collaborator to overthrow the last election.
Absolutely.
What happens if Mike Johnson's the Speaker on the 6th of January, 2025?
He can't be. You know, we're facing a situation with respect to the 2024 election where it's an existential crisis, and we have to ensure.
I am so sick of hearing about this existential crisis, that if this happens, it's the end of the country, it's the end of the world. These people are all liars. Democrats and Republicans for the longest time have always went to the courts to say, hey, the election is not right, there's some kind of malfeasance, something is going on, something has to be looked at, and we need to pause. We need to do the election over. Democrats are always the ones out when an election is transpiring, and they're always screaming from the mountaintops, hey, I've been disenfranchised. Something's wrong. They're making me show an ID when I vote. It's always the Democrats that are saying, hey, on one hand, I'm a victim. On one hand, we're not being treated properly. And then when they go to court, it's okay. But when a Republican goes to court, it's not okay. And then when you disagree with them, they call you a denier. You're some kind of denier. Like Liz is trying to say here, hey, you're an election denier. You are in on the scheme. You're in on the malfeasance. There's this evil. You're part of it if you question the election. And that's just wrong. You're lying, Liz, through your teeth, and the reporters are enabling you to do so. Shame on you.
That we don't have a situation where an election that might be thrown into the House of Representatives is overseen by a Republican majority.
So you would prefer a Democratic majority?
I believe very strongly in those principles and ideals that have defined the Republican Party.
Okay, Liz, let's just call it what it is. You are now a Democrat, Liz, because you refused to carry out the will of your constituents from Wyoming that said, Liz, we're electing you as a Republican. You need to support the Republican ticket. And you refused to do so. You refused to get behind the leader, a.k.a. Donald Trump, and you paid the price for your narcissism, for thinking everything is only about you, Liz, and it's not about you, and that's why you were primaried and sent packing, as you should have been. And to now lie to the American people while, of course, you're hawking a book. I mean, it is such a lie. You are not telling the truth. It is just shameful.
But the Republican Party of today has made a choice, and they haven't chosen the Constitution. And so I do think it's...
And there's no evidence for that, Liz. There's nothing that says Republicans have not chose the Constitution. When you take office, you swear to uphold the Constitution of the United States, and you have no evidence other than your empty words saying that Republicans are not upholding the Constitution. You're just an outright fraud pushing a book.
It presents a threat if the Republicans are in the majority in January 2025.
It's a threat Cheney hopes she can be clear enough about to break through the political numbness. You say Donald Trump, if he is reelected, it will be the end of the republic. What do you mean?
He's told us what he will do. People who say, well, if he's elected, it's not that dangerous because we have all of these checks and balances, don't fully understand the extent to which the Republicans in Congress today have been co-opted.
They always say this. They said that back when Donald Trump ran in 2016. They said it again in 2020. And now it's a full drum beat mantra saying if he's elected, it's the end of our democracy. Do you really believe that? I mean, come on. How many times can they pull out the same old dog and expect it to hunt differently? Liz, you're a liar. This reporter is giving you a platform to lie, and I am calling you out. I'm calling the legacy media out. This is shameful and despicable. You should stop this.
One of the things that we see happening today is a sort of a sleepwalking into dictatorship in the
Oh, that's wonderful. Sleepwalking into dictatorship. What did you do? Did you go to Chat GP3 to look that up or to try to find some kind of clever bit of poetry to stitch it together? That sleepwalking, into a dictatorship. Wow. I'm impressed, Liz. Wow. Amazing. Oh, my goodness. Folks, do you agree with me? Put in the comments below and let me know one way or the other. I want to have this conversation. Is it as obvious as I think it is? I'm certain there's what I have always called a quiet majority out there that sees right through this nonsense.
The United States.
Donald Trump a fascist?
I think that he certainly is employing fascist techniques. I think that the tools that he's using are tools that we've seen used by authoritarians, fascists, tyrants around the world. The things that he has said and done in some ways are so outrageous that we have become numb to them. What I believe is the cause of our time is that we not become numb, that we understand the warning signs, that we understand the danger, and that we ignore partisan politics to stop him.
That's Liz Cheney, the former representative from the great state of Wyoming. And I am so happy that the voters there went ahead and put a primary challenger up against her, and we sent her butt packing back to Wyoming. That's where you belong, Liz, and I hope that's where you stay after trying to huck this book of yours all over the place. You're lying to the American people. You're spreading falsehoods. If Mike Johnson was such a serious threat and a dangerous individual, as you have said in this interview, why did you not say something back then? I mean, come on, we know what's going on. You're selling books. You're trying to spread lies. You're looking for retribution against the Republicans and Donald Trump because of your own actions. You failed to represent your constituents in the great state of Wyoming, and you paid the appropriate price. It's not all about you, Liz. It's about your voters you're supposed to represent. It's about America. We're tired of this junk that we're being sold, this woke ideology, and you apparently are drinking the Kool-Aid yourself because you did not get your way. You decided now you're going to have all-out war against the Republicans and Donald Trump. Shame on you, Liz. Go back to Wyoming. Friends, let me know what you think in the comments below. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe. It helps spread the message of this video and the message that I have for everyone within earshot. I always appreciate you joining me. Make sure to keep that mind free and never give up, my friends. I am J.R. Dukes.